Allah is the one, the one, the one, the one.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Summa salatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ala kulli man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin wa ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Innal ladzina qalu rabbuna Allah summa istaqamu tatanazzalu alaihimul malaika alla takhafu wa la tahzanu wa abshiru bil jannati allati kuntum tu'adun. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Inshallah, today we'll do a quick reminder about the virtues or the merit of fasting some days in the month of Shawwal. And it is a common topic that is usually discussed by many people immediately after Ramadan or toward the end of the month of Ramadan. Why we want to do a topic, a presentation or a reminder about this? Not because it's only current, because it is of a great importance in our system of worship. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated a certain act of worship, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam attached some other act of worship to those legislated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you look at the prayer, we have the 12 sunnah prayers, 12 rakat sunnah that are following the 5 daily prayers. And these 12 rakat, they are not obligatory, they are not fard, they are not something that you must do. But if you do them, and the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the benefit of it, he said whoever prays 12 rakat in the 12, with following the 5 daily prayers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will build a palace for him in Jannah. So that's very, very important. Nobody wants to miss that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated the zakat. He gave us obligation to pay the zakat. This is not optional, it is an obligation upon every Muslim. And beside that, the Prophet ﷺ encouraged giving sadaqah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated the hajj. And beside that, we have the lesser hajj, which is the umrah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated fasting the month of Ramadan, and beside that, we have the voluntary fast. So these fasts in the month of Shawwal or any other time, they are the sunnah of fasting. They are the fasts that are not binding upon us, but they are highly encouraged so that it will compensate any shortcoming in our obligatory fast. And if there is no shortcoming, inshallah, Allah will multiply the reward. So it is important we remind and encourage one another to fast these days because we will reap the reward, inshallah, or it will help us to compensate any shortfall in our fasting during the month of Ramadan, for which no believer, no Muslim should miss anything because of the high status of fasting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Hadith al-Qudusi that every act of the son of Adam is for himself except for fasting. And fasting is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who will compensate for it. He is the one who will give the reward. So we don't want to be left out in receiving the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly, inshallah, on the day of judgment. For that, Allah has divided the month, the period of the year, into 12 months. And he mentioned this one in the Quran, in Surah Tawbah, ayah number 36. He said, indeed, the number of months with Allah is 12 lunar months in the register of Allah from the day He created the heaven and the earth. This information was hidden for a very long time during the period of ignorance before the coming of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because the previous generation, they missed so many things, and the guardianship of the revelation was left to them, and they tampered with this revelation until the information is completely lost. Just like the Friday. Friday is the day of worship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen for us as Eid of the week from the beginning. But it was hidden because, again, the scripture was tempered and the information was lost. That's why you find the Jew, they will have the day of worship, weekly day, on Saturday. They call it the Sabbath, meaning 7. And the Christian, they went further, losing it, they went to Sunday. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring this day back to us through our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he stated that Friday is a day, the best day of there is no day better than the day of Friday, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created Adam. It's on this day He gave him the soul. It's on this day He sent him on the earth, and many other things He mentioned in that hadith. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now bringing this information that the 12 months of the year are indeed the month recorded in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the beginning of the creation. And He said, among these 12 months, 4 of the months are sacred. That is the correct religion, meaning that this is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen for us as a way of life. So do not wrong yourself during these months, meaning the sacred month. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Allah is giving again in this surah the permission to the believers to fight those who are fighting them. Fight back. If people attack you, you have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to protect yourself. So this is in a nutshell the division of time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen for us, mankind, and particularly for the believers, because this information is lost for those who don't believe. We have so many other type of calendars, and notably the Gregorian calendar that is based on the phases of the sun, I mean the movement of the earth around the sun, and the lunar month, they are based on the phases of the moon, and they are easily accessible to any layman. You don't have to be a scientist, you don't have to be sophisticated in calculation to know the month of the year. You can just sight the moon and start counting. And when the moon, you cannot see it, it means 29 or 30 days, the month is gone. A new month is starting. As for the Gregorian calendar, none of us here will be able to pinpoint one single month and tell you all the information related to that month, when it's going to start, without sitting down and making a lot of calculation and planning and forecasting. Not everybody can make calendars. Very few people, only learned people, people who went to a certain training and schooling. But anybody can detect the lunar month, because you can just sight the moon, that's the beginning, and when you don't see it, it's the end. So very easy to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the Deen, the religion, very easy and accessible for everyone. It's not just for elite, it's for every human being. That's why, again, when Allah is cautioning us, He will caution every one of us according to the level of knowledge and understanding you have, and in the area of your specialization where you are working. You are a business person, Allah will ask you about your business. You are a ruler, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask you about the people under your guardianship. In every area, that's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will caution you. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam narrated, mentioned, hadith narrated by Abu Bakr. He said, the division of time has turned to its original form, which was current when Allah created the heaven and the earth, very similar to the ayat. He said, the year is of 12 months, out of which 4 months are sacred. They are in succession, meaning one after the other. This is Julqada, Julhijjah, and Muharram, and they're coming very soon. And the fourth is the month of Rajab, which comes between Jumaida, Thaniya, and Shaban. So this hadith is recorded by Imam Al-Bukhari in volume number 4, book 54, hadith 419. Why the Prophet ﷺ is explaining this to the companion? Because these months, they are season of worship for the believers. These are months in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited fighting. You cannot initiate war between you as believers and disbelievers. Unless you are attacked, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you permission to defend yourself. But as believers, at the time when the Islam was expanding, you cannot initiate a war. You cannot attack anybody during this period of time. It to give the people chance to perform the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because these months they revolve around the Hajj, one of the fundamental pillar of Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has legislated upon the Muslim. That's why this season of worship is so important for every Muslim. We should pay much attention to what Allah said. He said, do not wrong yourself during those months. In other words, every act of good deeds you will do during this month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those good deeds more than any other time of the year. And that's why soon inshallah we will go for the three successive months upon which you going to prepare for traveling to the Hajj, and the other month will be Julhijjah, in which the Hajj is performed, and the following month, which is the month of Muharram, when the people will be returning back to their settling places. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making sure this is a time when everybody is focusing only on worship. Subhanallah. So the Islamic calendar has 12 months, as mentioned in the ayat in Surah Tawbah, ayah number 36, and the names of these months are mentioned in the slide you can see on the screen here. It's not very important for me to go around telling you all the names in Arabic, but you can find it in the slide here, and the information is, knowing the names is important, because most of the act of worship, they are linked to the lunar calendars. They are not linked to any Gregorian calendar. It's like, for example, when you want to give your zakat, the zakat is calculated yearly, but this is following the lunar calendars, not the Gregorian calendar. You cannot say, okay, last year I gave my zakat on January 20, and this year I must wait for January 20 to give the zakat. You don't calculate that way. You calculate it according to the lunar month. Because there are some people also will, by following the Gregorian calendar, they will miss on the timing for giving the zakat, or for expiation, for example. Some people will do some wrong during the month of Ramadan or during the Hajj that require them to expiate, fasting 3 days or 60 days. If you are following the Gregorian calendar, you will go wrong. So these any act of worship basically is linked to the lunar calendar. It's not to any other calendar. So it's important to know these months and fix them in our minds. Every Muslim is encouraged to have knowledge and understanding of the lunar month, because it is important for our worship. And the month that is focused today is the month of Shawwal. Is the 10th month of the Islamic calendar. Ramadan is the 9th month, and Shawwal is the 10th month in the Islamic calendar. And Shawwal is derived from the Arabic word tashawwala. Tashawwala, which refer to the scarcity in she-camel milk at the time when the of course it's revolving around the year from what we know now, but during this time when these names were given to the month, it happened that the camels don't have much milk, so they gave the name Shawwal based on that, to say that the camels don't have there is scarcity of milk in the camel. Now, coming to the importance of fasting the 6 days of Shawwal, the Prophet ﷺ narrated, he mentioned, this is recorded by Imam Muslim and others, by one of the companion called Abu Ayyub al-Ansari radiallahu anhu. He narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man sama Ramadana summa atba'ahu sittan min Shawwalin kana kasiyam dahar." This is recorded by Imam Muslim. What does it imply? He said, whoever fasts during the month of Ramadan, then follows it with 6 days of Shawwal, will be rewarded as if he has fasted the entire year. Entire year fasting 6 days after Ramadan. In another narration, it says, whoever fasts Ramadan and follows it with 6 days, it will be as if has fasted a lifetime. Fasting a lifetime here, meaning that all the time the person has been in life, in this life. Just like when we believers, we are striving to achieve Laylatul Qadr. You achieve good deeds, worship in the one night, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is recording that you have been worshipping Him for a lifetime. What is lifetime for in our measurement? 80 years. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said is 60 to 70 years. Anything beyond that is a bonus. And Allah is telling us in the Quran that in this month, in this night, it is equivalent to 1,000 months. 1,000 months. That is equivalent to 83 years. So beyond the estimation of 60 to 70 years. Anybody who captured a good worship during that time is considered they have worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a lifetime. Coming back to this hadith, Abu Ayyub radiallahu anhu, this is recorded by Imam Muslim, Abu Dawood, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasai, Ibn Majah, and others also. So there is no doubt about the authenticity of the hadith. So what do we understand? It is out of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will reward every act of worship done properly according to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He will reward it 10 times. He mentioned it in the Quran, in Surah Nahl, if I'm not mistaken. He said, a good deed is rewarded 10-fold, meaning 10 like it. So we are fasting the month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is multiplying that by 10. You fast in 1 month, He is recording that you have fasted for 10 months. This is out of His mercy. And then when you fast the 6 days of Shawwal, 1 day is equivalent to to 30 days. 1 month. So you multiply these 6 days, it's equivalent to 2 months of fasting. It's coming now to compensate the year, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, is of 12 months. So you have fasted 10 months by fasting the month of Ramadan, and you have fasted 2 months for fasting the 6 days of Shawwal. Subhanallah, this is only by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is there to give you this kind of trade? Business people, think about it. In which business you buy one, you get 10 free? Tell me. None. You can't get it unless it's made in Banana Republic. So you don't get any trade where you buy one and you get 10 free. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is rewarding 10 times every act of worship. So it is very, very important that no Muslim misses this opportunity to be recorded that you have fasted an entire life. Because all what it takes you is to fast the month of Ramadan and follow it by 6 days. Then it is reported that Allah has made for each hasanat, as I mentioned, 10 like it. So a month is like fasting 10 months, and fasting the 6 days complete the year. And this is also reported by An-Nasai and Ibn Majah. The hadith is authentic. Ibn Khuzaymah, rahimahullah ta'ala, commented and said that fasting the month of Ramadan brings the reward of 10 like it, and fasting the 6 days of Shawwal brings the reward of 2 months, that is fasting the whole year. If you are now repeating this experience every year, you fast the month of Ramadan, you follow it by 6 days of Shawwal, you are fasting basically the entire year. So if you repeat that for the time you are living and you are able to fast, Allah is recording you someone who has fasted the entire life. Entire life. Now imagine fasting one day for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will distance you from the hellfire for 70 years. 70 years for fasting only one day is taking you away from the punishment of Allah of hellfire. You don't smell it. Now your entire life is recorded as someone who is fasting. What is the chance to go to hell? Zero. Zero. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala record us as people who have fasted their entire life by making only one simple effort and intention, that you are fasting the month of Ramadan, complete it and fast 6 days after completing the month of Ramadan. Allah records you as someone who has fasted for the whole year or for a lifetime. What is the importance? The benefit of fasting the 6 days of Shawwal is that it makes up any shortfall. Anything that is short from our regular fast in the month of Ramadan, Allah will take from the fasting of Shawwal to compensate it. Just like when we are praying the Sunnah after Zuhr or before Zuhr, if anything is short, you lacking some concentration or anything, Allah will take from the Nafil prayer and compensate for the Fard prayer. Meaning that on the day of judgment, when Allah is questioning the believers, He said the first thing the son of Adam will be asked on the day of judgment about is the prayer. If the prayer is complete, inshallah everything else is fine. Allah will not audit your account. But if you fail and there is some lacking in the prayer, that's when Allah will start now asking you one after the other, auditing you, investigating. And whoever is audited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely fail. Whoever is audited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never make it. Because either you have done something, you have said something, or you have intended something that is not in line with what you are commanded to do. So Fasting the 6 days of Shawwal is of a high importance. Now, when we go to the hadith, we will derive some understanding. According to the Prophet ﷺ, statement is very clear. You have to fast the 6 days, the month of Ramadan entirely, whether it's 29 or 30 days. Then follows it with the 6 days in Shawwal. If we take the hadith literally, it means that after Ramadan, you have to fast these 6 days within the month of Shawwal. You cannot fast them after the month of Shawwal. However, if you are to take it in the understanding that you complete your Ramadan and any other time of the year you fast these 6 days, you will still have the reward for fasting the entire year, because it's fitting the purpose there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not put any restriction. It's just like fasting the white days. Why the Prophet ﷺ mentioned this hadith? He said whoever fasts 3 days in a month is recorded as someone who has fasted the entire month. And he specifically mentioned those days, 13, 14 and 15th of the lunar month. These are called the white days because that's when the moon is very bright. You can see the night is clear as if it's the day. So it's white at night. It's not the white as my brother is looking white here. It's not black as the black skin. So the white days, they imply the middle of the month, basically. But if you look at the intended purpose of the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, if you fast either the beginning, the middle, or the end, what is intended that you fast 3 days? Because those 3 days multiplied by 10, each one of them will give you the 30 days. So this is, if we go into details to say the intention is there. You still remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he commanded the companion, do not pray Asr until you reach Banu Uraiza. Some people understood it that they will not pray even the time is up. Some other companions said, no, it is time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna salata kanat ala mu'minina kitaban mawquta. We will pray. We will not delay the Asr prayer. So both can be understood from the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, if we understand it according to mentioning specifically Shawwal, which is highly recommended because the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the month of Shawwal, we should hasten, we should be in hurry to compensate, to pay whatever we missed in Ramadan and fast the 6 days of Shawwal. If not, we have situation of people who are sick, for example, or some sisters who will have a number of days to make up for Ramadan due to childbirth, for breastfeeding, or any other reason. So if they are to fast the month of Ramadan, meaning 29 or 30 days, for example, they miss Ramadan completely, they have to compensate that before earning the reward of Shawwal, meaning that they have to fast the entire month of Shawwal and there is no more days left. So how do they get the reward for fasting the 6 days in Shawwal? So that's why the scholars said it is not necessarily the month of Shawwal, but you have to complete Ramadan, whether it's 29 or 30 days. Whatever you miss, you pay that first before you fast the Sunnah. And even outside the month of Shawwal, inshallah, Allah will give you the reward. However, from the apparent meaning of the hadith, we should hasten to fast the days in Shawwal, and the best way is to do it immediately after Eid, because that was the practice of the Prophet ﷺ himself. But Aisha radiallahu anha went otherwise. from the life of Aisha radiallahu anha, you will find that she did not compensate what she missed in Ramadan and fasted the 6 days of Shawwal, but she delayed for some reason, and she mentioned because she wanted to, because she was busy attending the Prophet ﷺ and his needs. So for this, we will say it is allowed to fast the 6 days of Shawwal immediately after Eid. Some people think the Eid is 3 days. Eid al-Fitr is only for 1 day. You can start fasting the following day. It's not like Eid al-Adha, where you have the 3 days of Tashriq. These days are forbidden to fast. Nobody is allowed to fast on those days because of a specific order from the Prophet ﷺ, which says these days are forbidden to fast. So you cannot fast on them, as opposed to the month of, to Ramadan on the 1st of Shawwal. The next day you can start fasting the 6 days. This was the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu was one of those very keen companions to follow the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ to the letter. They will not delay even for 1 day, and they will fast those days consecutively. Do we have to fast the days consecutively? No, it's not necessary. You can fast 1 day, you can fast 2 days in a row, you can fast all of them in one time. You can target the Mondays and Thursdays in Shawwal, intending also to earn the reward. You get double reward. What we cannot do is to have the intention of fasting the 6 days of Shawwal and paying what we missed in Ramadan. These two cannot be combined. The intention has to be separate. One of them is an obligation, the other one is optional. And for this, you cannot have two intentions for the fard and the sunnah at the same time. Just like you cannot say, okay, I'm praying the 4 rakat of Zuhr, and I intend that these 4 rakat will be the 4 rakat of after Zuhr. You cannot do that because you cannot combine the two. Basically, you can't make some shortcut there. There are some people who want a very quick fix. They just want Jannah in one shot. No, we have to follow the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ, one after the other. You can't jump the gun. So, I already explained that the intention of the sunnah and the fard has to be separated, and the reward of earning the 6 days, the entire year of fast, can only be achieved when the person has fasted Ramadan completely. Can we now interchange? We say, okay, we will fast first the sunnah of Shawwal and then we compensate what we missed in Ramadan. Yes, we can do, but it is not encouraged. Because it's like when you are owing somebody, you owe Brother Arabi 5,000, and when he comes to visit you, you give him 3,000 as a gift. Say, later I will pay you your 5,000. He's very happy.
No, it's ridiculous. It's not happy.
So, just like that, you cannot expect that you will fast the 6 days of Shawwal and then pay back what you missed in Ramadan, even though it's allowed, but it is not encouraged. Other virtues of some other Islamic month, we know the 4 sacred months as mentioned in Surah Tawbah, and we have Dhul-Hijjah that will come. This is the month of the Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned these indirectly in the Quran, in Surah Al-Fajr, in the very beginning of Surah Al-Fajr. We say, وَالْفَجْرِ وَلَيَالٍ أَسْرٍ وَالصَّفْوِ وَالْوَتْرِ وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَسْرِ هَلْ فِي ذَلِكَ قَسَمٌ لِذِي هِجْرٍ, and then so forth. These are ayat in reference to the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. They are highly recommended not only for those who are performing the Hajj but also for every other believer, because Allah mentioned that through the word of the Prophet ﷺ, there are no days beloved in which good deeds are more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. This is the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, including the days of Ramadan. So doing good deeds in the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah, not only first 10 days throughout the month, but these first 10 days are of specific importance, because Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he commented this ayat. He said, he swear by Allah that these wal fajr wal layalin asr is mentioning, is directly talking about the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. So we should capitalize on those, take every opportunity to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as we can, and do good deeds. It's not only fasting, it's every other good deeds. And then after Dhul-Hijjah, we have the month of Muharram, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, he said the month of Allah, Muharram, the sacred month of Allah. How about the other 12, 11 months? Are they not the month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They are. But specifically singling out Muharram is highly significant here. And we have multiple narration when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported that he never loved to fast more than the month of Muharram. Even though Aisha radiallahu anha reported that she has not seen the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam fasting any month many more days than Shaban. And in another narration she said he fasted the whole month. That is Shaban, the one before Ramadan. But it is to emphasize the importance of the Sunnah fasting, and we have them in many ways. What are the Sunnah fasting after the month of Ramadan? Is the 6 days of Shawwal we just mentioned. That will give us the opportunity to be recorded someone who has fasted the entire year. But beside that, we have other Sunnah fasting, that is the Mondays and Thursdays. We have another form of fasting, that is the 3 days in a month. We focus on the white days as mentioned in the hadith. And beside that, we have another type of Sunnah, that is the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. And more Muharram. And Muharram include the 9th and 10th. That is called Tashura and Ashura. The 9th and 10th of Muharram. But beside that, it is also encouraged to keep fasting as much as you can, because it's one of the act of worship that is more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is an act of worship that can be done in utmost sincerity. Every other act of worship can be seen by people. Element of showing off can be seen into them. But for fasting, you can fast without your spouse noticing that you are fasting. You can keep your fast, your colleagues at work don't know that you are fasting. So it is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see the sincerity within us. It's just like the night prayer. The night prayer, when everybody is asleep, you wake up by yourself in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sometimes even in darkness, there is no light. You are directly worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nobody is seeing you. So it is highly recommended to keep those fasts, and the best fast, if the person is able after this, is the fast of Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wassalam, which is not practiced by many people today, because everyone want to eat this, I want to taste that, I want this, I'm going for lunch, I'm invited for tea, for this. Why you cannot do that? Because you have to fast every other day. This is the fast of Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wassalam. Youths are highly encouraged to fast, not elderly people. Youth, young men are encouraged to fast. This is from the word of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, for those of you who are able to marry, I urge you to marry. For those of you who are not able to marry, I invite you to fast. Because fasting will weaken your desires. SubhanAllah. If you continuously fast, you will start thinking about yourself much more than you're thinking about other things. And the moment the stomach is full, the mind starts going outside thinking about other things. Otherwise, all the focus is on the stomach, how to feel it. Subhanallah. Very much to the point. And for those who are still having very strong desires, the Prophet ﷺ recommended another type of fasting. Is that after sunset, you don't break the fast. You continue to Fajr. Yes, you continue fasting to Fajr. Just before Fajr, you break your fast and start a new day. If you continue like that, wallahi, the desire you have, it doesn't matter how strong it is, it will fade gradually, and it will reconnect you back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You won't have desire to think about worldly things. You will find your connection back with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why youths are highly encouraged to fast. When your desires are very strong, continue fasting, inshallah. May Allah make us among those who fast sincerely for His sake and accept it so that we will enter Jannah through the gate of Ar-Rayyan that is reserved for people who regularly observe fasting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One day, the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with the companion, many of them together. He asked, is any one of you fasting? Has any one of you visited a sick person? Has any one of you fed a needy person? Has any one of you assisted as another? In all these questions, one companion is answering to every single question. That is Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. The Prophet ﷺ looked at him, he said, these qualities, somebody will not possess them except he is a person of Jannah. And I think you are one of them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the glad tidings to the Prophet ﷺ to inform Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu that he will enter Jannah through any gate he wants. How many gates Jannah has? 8 doors. 8 gates. Abu Bakr will choose which one he wants to enter from. Ar-Rayyan and the others that I don't even know the name. This is the quality of sincerity. What makes the distinction between Abu Bakr and the other companion is the sincerity in the heart. Whatever he does it with clear sincerity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah make us among those who will be very sincere in our act of worship. Forgive us any shortcoming. And if you have any clarification you would like, Jazakumullah khairan, I will be very happy to assist. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Yes.
Well, one hadith, Aisha radiallahu anha said that sometimes we thought the Prophet ﷺ stopped fasting to the point that we almost thought he would never fast again. So does that mean he also left the Monday and Thursday fastings?
No, what it means, the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha is in relation to Sha'ban actually. She said, the Prophet ﷺ will fast until we think he will never break the fast. And then he will start fasting again until we think he will never stop. So this is in relation to the month of Shaban. It's not throughout the year. It's because of how much he loved to fast in the month of Shaban in preparation for Ramadan. One thing we need to understand when we read some of the hadiths, when Aisha, for example, is reporting the hadith, remember always that she is not the only wife of the Prophet ﷺ. She is only reporting what she is observing when the Prophet ﷺ is with her. So you will hear another report, for example, from Hafsa or any other. They will tell you, I never see the Prophet ﷺ doing this. And then how do you reconcile the two? It means when he was with Aisha radiallahu anha, he used to fast. When he is with Hafsa, he is not fasting. And each one of them is reporting what they observe. So things need to be taken into context all the time. There is no conflict in the hadith. There is no conflict in the sunnah, just like there is no conflict in the Quran. The hadiths, they are very, very much in line with each other. There is no contradiction. There is a common trend we hear most of the time in our current time. They say, oh, it's only a difference of opinion. Every difference of opinion have a correct understanding, have a correct opinion. But we take it lightly. We say, no, this is a difference of opinion. You never try to find out which one is correct, because each one of them is just like every misguided sect out there. They are misguided because of one statement or one word. They will take it to one extreme. They go completely out of context and get astray. May Allah protect us.
Is it we have to get, I mean, the ladies or any spouses, they have to get the permission? Do they have spouses?
Brother is asking if a lady is observing voluntary fast, if she need to inform the spouse. Yes, this is one of the statements of the Prophet ﷺ. If it is a voluntary fast, not the obligatory fast. If it is the obligatory fast, this is upon every one of us. So a husband cannot dictate to the wife that you cannot fast, or I give you permission, or I don't give you permission. No. It's just like wearing the hijab. She doesn't need permission from the husband to wear the hijab, because this is an obligation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The husband has no right to come and impose on her that you cannot wear the hijab. This is an obligation Allah has put upon the woman, just like He has put obligation upon the man. The wife cannot come and force you to shave your beard. So these kind of things you need to know. These are injunction, command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
If it is too long?
Too long, this, how long? How long is too long?
Yeah.
This is what you need to observe. Is it in line with the sunnah? If he is going below the, what is called the knees, then of course the person may need some help. But beyond that, you need to observe the sunnah as much as you can. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among the people who love the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and observe it as much as we can. Yes, well.
If someone fasts the month of Ramadan and then Shawwal comes, he or she gets sick, or woman has their cycle,
Right.
they can't fast the month of Shawwal.
Mhm.
So what can they do? They have the intention, they wanted to fast.
Right. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, if you look at the book of Hadith, we have 6 books called the Sharia Sitta or whatever you call it. They are not all authentic. There are some weak hadiths in some of them. But this is commonly named. 4 of these, or maybe 5 of them, there is one single hadith at the beginning of each one of them. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, innamal amal binniyat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward the people according to their intention. So for sisters who will not be able to fast the voluntary fast in Shawwal, while they had the firm intention to observe it, but for some reason they cannot observe it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them as if they have fasted the 6 days of Shawwal. All they need to do is to be patient, wait until what is preventing them from fasting to pass, and they fast. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will record even if they did this 3, 4, 5 months later on. As long as you have a valid excuse that is holding you, Allah will not deprive you from the reward of these 6 days of Shawwal. You will still have the reward. That's why I said, some scholars said, even outside the month of Shawwal, you fast these 6 days, you can target any other time, you fast them, you can, in fact, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said, you can even combine them with the days of Dhul-Hijjah, because you want to have multiple rewards. In that, the days of Dhul-Hijjah, they are highly recommended. You can combine your 6 days of Shawwal to fasting the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah.
But you need a valid excuse.
You need to have a reason why you delay it until Dhul-Hijjah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will compensate you double. Yes.
So the other type of fasting you mentioned, very, like, it's unheard of.
Right.
And if, I mean, of course it's there, so what is the procedure? Like, if you want to break at 10 o'clock, is that okay? For example, if you want, like, you can't take it anymore.
Right.
After Maghrib you didn't, so after Isha you broke the fast. Is that valid or false in line?
Brother is asking for the other type of fasting that I mentioned. The Prophet ﷺ said he himself practiced it. The companion followed him until he warned them. He said, "Do not follow me, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will feed me and He will give me drink. If you do it, you cannot." And they followed until at certain point they found that they cannot follow him. He used to fast from Fajr to almost Fajr without breaking in the middle. Now the brother is asking, can we break the fast at a certain point when we find that we cannot handle anymore? For example, you fast from Fajr today until around midnight, and then you find that you are weak, you cannot. Of course, fasting legislation is from dawn until sunset. That is, you can break the fast anytime. If your intention is to follow that sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, you can break in the middle, because you already covered the necessary period of fasting already. Nobody will force you to go up to Fajr. You can break it anytime. Inshallah, you should be fine. Jazakumullah khairan. Any other?
Do we have room for one more question?
Yes, please.
Some people like quoting the hadith to show the significance of the month of Shawwal.
Right.
Say that the Prophet said the only person who will surpass the person who was fasting the 6 days of Shawwal is that person who went to jihad, who has been killed, and him and his wealth hasn't been back, basically. How valid is this hadith? Is it?
Right. The brother is asking about a particular hadith where the Prophet ﷺ emphasized the fasting of not the 6 days of Shawwal, but the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned this hadith is authentic. He said, there are no good deeds, there are no deeds more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than deeds done in the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. And the companion asked, including jihad fi sabilillah? He said, even jihad fi sabilillah, except when a person will leave his family and go with his wealth, nothing comes back, meaning that the person is killed on the part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only a person in that situation could be compared in terms of reward than someone who is doing good deeds in the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. It doesn't imply necessarily fasting, it implies giving to charity, it implies greeting a person, it implies helping a widow, it implies looking after an orphan, it implies giving to charity, it implies any good deeds. any good deed. So it's in relation to the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah, not the 6 days of Shawwal. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My Allah is the one.